Alright then. Looks like the stream is stable. Down my espresso. I think I might try getting down to work. Looks like I had a couple people come in and out of the stream watching. Welcome to whoever's watching right now. Start at the scene switcher. Jump into my editor. So, kind of trying to pick up where I left off on Friday. The last thing I was working on, I was trying to figure out why my installation of this font disappears every time I install something else from NPM. So I might look at that some more. The solution I arrived on at Friday afternoon was to install a different package, which gave me the willies because it's a different package, so maybe it's not the exact same font. Could be missing some bug fixes. Also wanted to look at seeing if I can get my local machine's clipboard to work with the remote Ubuntu machine I'm using via remote desktop. I actually added one for today, which is actually more real work on the project, which is implement some actual drag and drop on the project. And actually, one of the things I should do, I should get my, I didn't write down the command I used last week to mount NFS on my remote Ubuntu box, and that's how I'm loading the add-on in my browser. So maybe I'll rediscover that. So a few random things to do. Some things are housekeeping. And it's not that hard to do, it's just I remember there were a couple flags I used that ended up making all the difference. Well, let's see. I had to do it from a command line prompt, I remember that. So let's just open that. I suppose it's in my command history. No, okay. Now this is the thing I remembered. There's a mount command. Oh wait, it's already mounted. But is it the right box? I guess I'll check real quick. When this wasn't working, it kind of froze my machine a bit. Oh hey look, it's already mounted. Never mind. Seems to be just working. Awesome. So what that means I can do, when I start working on Firefox Color, I need to temporarily load the add-on. And what that gives me is the ability to load the in-progress add-on that I'm building that changes the theme. Well, that's actually kind of a cool song. Oh well, I missed it. Alright, so I load this add-on, just kind of getting started for the day. There we go, I loaded the add-on, applied the theme, state of the app changed to reflect that the add-on is available. Cool. So all the stuff I left on Friday is still working. So that's a good starting point. Now it still isn't working, I don't think. I was trying to edit using a local copy of Vim over NFS. Maybe I'll see if that's any faster. It was just not fast at all last week. I found myself editing over remote desktop. Seems to be actually pretty snappy today though. I really don't know what the difference is. Well, okay, maybe I'll try rolling with it. Yeah, so just to as a quick explanation, what I got going on here, I have my home directory on so I have a virtual machine running in Amazon on EC2, and I'm using it as kind of my workhorse development machine, and it is running the Webpack build for my project because apparently trying to get my local machine to do it is asking a little too much while I'm streaming. But that's going mostly alright. But I still like using a local editor because this is what Vim looks like via remote desktop, and I've got NeoVim here locally. They look pretty much the same, but the local version is a bit snappier. So I mounted my home directory on that remote box via NFS under Windows, which mostly lets me use some local tools to get to things. And last week it was going very, very slow. But today, it seems to be snappy. And as far as I know, I didn't change anything significant. Well, maybe the internet pipes are fast today. Okay. And then where I left off on Friday, I was editing this theme custom background picker. And I've been doing that for a few weeks now. I've added a bunch of features to it to add this little section here, which is still really rough UI-wise, but it gives you the capability of putting your own custom background images up here in the theme. Oh yeah, I guess one of the things I added last week is I added thumbnails. You can see what image you just uploaded. And I still haven't bothered to get any better images for that. And you can do things like change their alignment. So I just move this one to the right top, and I can say this one should tile. So just a real simple layering system. Lets you specify some background images and compose them that way in your browser theme. And one of the things I want to do is, instead of these up and down buttons, I want to actually make them draggable. So you can reorder them that way. And you know what? Now that I've done that intro, I think I'm going to put off trying to fix that issue for a little while. And I think I'm going to start in on this one. And what I'm editing here, as you can see up above my head there in the corner, I kind of got a little persistent to-do list. You can follow along with what I'm doing. Alright, so first task of the day then. I'm going to look at actually making these things drag and drop. And one of the things I was looking at over the weekend on another project is a React component that helps enable drag and drop. Where'd I put that? There it is. So I might play around with this component today, because it basically does what I want. If this demo will load. Maybe it won't. We're not going to get to look at that today. Maybe my browser's unhappy with me. Anyway, there's a little GIF in the README. It's got a lot of neat features. Like you can drag and drop these to sort them. So this might actually be overkill because I don't need to resize these at all. I just need some kind of fixed sized components to be drag and drop. So I might find this as overkill. The other project I've been working on, like over the weekend, I'm starting to play around with creating like a tool to kind of accompany me on stream. Maybe it'll have a chat bot, maybe it'll take care of my overlays for me, give me a little dashboard. But at some point, maybe on a weekend stream or something, I might start streaming myself working on the stream tool, just as like a extra dose of meta. And I don't even know if I'll make a useful thing out of it. It's mostly just because I want to kind of sharpen the saw on a few React tools I haven't used in a long time. Yeah, maybe I'll do a little Googling real quick. What other drag and drop things are there in React land? So I really just want to make a drag and drop list. It's pretty simple. I don't want to do that right now. Don't interrupt my flow, thank you. There it goes. There's never a good time for restarts, is there? At least it was relatively fast, I guess. Alright, what's Google tell me about this? I mean, I have played with some of these things before, I guess. I could build this from scratch. I don't feel like it. Which is why I'm kind of going to the grocery store of React components. This is kind of an older component, which might mean it's relatively stable. Look at some examples real quick. This is exactly the interaction I want. I just want to be able to drag these items around. So I don't know, maybe I'll look into using this component. I assume, yeah, it's on NPM. Got a lot of downloads, got a lot of stars. What's the license? License is MIT, that's cool. Yeah, maybe I'll go for this one. Alright, well, let's try installing it. And of course, as I do that, the issue I've been trying to work on will break. Why don't we just do this to get it out of the way? What's that called? React sortable Hawk higher order component. Let's drop that in there. And then, you know what, let's just anticipate that problem that's going to come up as soon as I install a new module. Here we go. Yeah, there's my error. I just followed it up immediately with another install, so maybe it'll fix it. Actually, no, I should probably just stop building while modules are being installed. There's no sense for it to do repeated builds. There we go. Okay, well, let's restart the build, and I bet that error will have gone away. Yep, there it goes. Of course, that error I'm talking about is this, figure out why installing npm modules loses Fira. Every time I install a new module, the Fira font I have installed as an npm, as a package.json dependency, the files just disappear. So I install any other module, and that module disappears until I run just plain npm install again. So maybe I'll try to figure that out later today. But back to the thing. So I just installed the drag and drop component. Should be in my package.json now. Yeah, I almost can't believe that this NFS drive is pretty fast today. Guess I won't complain about it. Alright, so yeah, it's installed. Let's go back to the README. Maybe it'll be pretty quick. I look at the examples. Installation. Yeah. Cool. Basic example. Looks pretty simple. It also looks like the onsort end event might be compatible with the Redux action I coded up last week to actually, which is what the up and down buttons are using right now. The Redux action I made last week to actually move the items in the data store. Actually, yeah, maybe this this component slots in nicely. Well, so let's start with a little copy pasta. Oh, that's interesting. It looks like it comes with an array move utility, which actually would have been handy last week when I was making that that Redux action. Okay, let's copy it. I don't know what this music is. Actually, that's bad. I'm not going to need that array move though, and I know if I leave that in there, that's going to be a linting error. I don't know if it's good. I may end up including it in my Redux action. Actually, I'm curious now, so I'll do a quick sidebar. My action I made was also copied from someone else's notes. Because I wanted to do kind of an immutable array copy that swapped a couple items. And this is what I came up with. This reducer here, this redux reducer, which takes the original item, or the original array, snips the array apart, and takes the item out, pieces the array back together with the item in the new place. Huh. What? This is bizarre. I'm gonna skip to the next song. My music player is on total random play across like 350,000 songs as I'm looking for good stuff to bookmark. Okay, so this is what my algorithm looks like right now, and I got it from this Medium post. My dirty secret is half of what I do sometimes is just copying other people's code and gluing other people's modules together. Here's a array move. Yeah, this is not quite as well, I mean, it's not using a transpiler, so it's using kind of generic JavaScript. That's not a bad algorithm, but I do kind of like the code I've got better, which uses the spread notation to copy arrays around. So maybe I'll stick with what I got for now. Okay. Pop my stack out of that sidebar. Back to the basic example. I copied all that stuff. So, okay. We've got a sortable element, higher order component, which just kind of wraps what we got. And I do already have a component. Unfortunately, well, I guess it's not so unfortunate, but it's not a simple functional component like these are. Sortable list. Well, maybe I can do it that way. So I got a sortable container. Yeah, that's the way that works. Let's just wrap this. If I could spell it right. Be nice if it just worked. You know, what if we did this? This might be kinda... you know what this doesn't have? This isn't tracking its own state. Well, okay. I'm sorting myself out. Let's say... Yeah, so using this as a high order component. Maybe I can just do that. And just change these to sortable. I know what this is going to be missing out of the gate is it won't actually sort things. Because I haven't hooked up to these events. I don't know what happens if I just do that. Probably gonna break something. Sometimes it's instructive to just break things. Now my NFS is going slow. Just want to get rid of this. Did I break the build? Okay, let's try that again. That should at least pass linting. Yeah, looks like that passed linting. It's saved. Okay, a little faster. Okay, well, let's see what it looks like in the browser. I'm wondering if I... nope, broke a thing. Gonna want that list of items, right? Component is undefined. Why are you saying that? Oh, I know why. Okay. Got a few things out of order here. Can't use some of these things before they're defined, I guess. Okay, well, that's better. Okay. Move this out of the way. I suppose the drag... Oh! It's not doing anything really yet, but I can drag. So that's positive. It of course won't be doing the right thing because I haven't actually hooked up the event to anything useful. It's interesting that it started doing something clever already. Should figure out what this error is at some point. Keeps happening. Doesn't seem to explicitly break anything, but... Okay. So what I'm missing here... I've just got this hard-coded to have 3 elements. Maybe I should work around some internal state. And I need to at least do something with the onsort end event to actually reorder these. Yeah, and for that matter, I probably need to wrap that. Okay. Yeah, okay. We can expand things a little bit here. I'm just going to refactor this and split the components apart a little more. We got that as a sortable container. And we're going to wrap a functional component here. And a little verbose, but that's all right. Yeah, I'm just kind of stumbling into this. This is going to take a little more refactoring than I meant to. That's okay. I know what I did wrong. I've got my background selector component is a little too smart for its own good. It's doing its own selection of the background item from the list, where really it should be fed the item it needs. So I gotta think this through a little bit. This is a neat little song. Yeah, let's break this in. Let's expand this a bit. Might need to do a little prep work before I display something. Okay. Change this a little bit. I'm doing a stellar job at explaining what I'm thinking right now. Apologies. Okay, so the thing is, we've got coming in, this thing is looking up its own data, where really it should be past the single background it's getting, not past all backgrounds and the index to look up. So let's do that. But the other thing that I'm thinking about is that whether there are any backgrounds in the list or not, I always want to offer the option to pick up the 3. I guess I don't need to make those static selectors there. Yeah, this is kind of requiring some rethinking. Well, so, okay, we're coming in here. We got... I'm gonna steal some of this away. And this is still going to be kind of nasty looking UI. So, okay. Here's the thing we can do. And I don't have... do I have an action for this? I think I just have a... I'm assuming I have an array with 3 elements in my store. Or I'm assuming I have an array. And maybe I need to add an action that isn't just move custom background, but also add custom background so that you can add up to 3. Feel like I'm kind of unraveling a sweater here, figuring out everything I need to change. I thought it'd be really simple, but that's alright. So okay, let's back up. I'm going to add an action to my... I'm going to add an action to my Redux store. And I'm going to stop the site build. I'm just going to run tests. So I'm going to start off with... I'm going to start off poking around at my store here. And lately I've been trying to be a little more test-driven in these things, I guess. So, let's see. So I have an action to set a custom background at an index. Maybe I can just reuse that. Yeah. Why don't we do that? Let's not add a new action. Let's reuse what I got. It's a little awkward, but let's back up. Because I can just say, what's the current last index and set a new background there, I guess. Maybe. Kind of getting my brain in knots trying to think exactly how to change this, because I didn't build it initially as a list you can remove and add items to. I made it just a static set of 3 background pickers, because I thought that might be easier. I'm kind of trying to think through the implications of adding a simple add item button here. Like what up and down the stack does what with, say, an empty new background item. I guess we can just try it and see. So I'm just going to add that. There's nothing to it for right now. I'm going to add the... I'm going to convert this into a class. Because it's going to want to do some state and have some handlers, I think. It's a nice feature of React that it can use just functions as components. But sometimes you want something with a little more heft to it. Like a class. It's slightly less awkward than trying to wrap it all in a function. Okay, I'm in this button. I'm going to say this isn't going to do anything for right now, but it's just kind of there to doodle with. And now that I got that, I'm going to say what that's called. Yeah, theme custom backgrounds, and I already destructured it, so I don't need to do that. But I do need to do this. Let's do it like this. I guess I can wrap that in a list. No, this is where the higher order component comes in, actually. Let's do it like this. Let's not have a typo. You know, actually, I don't think I need it. Yeah, well, no, because I'm doing some action handling here. This will probably make more sense as I get closer to it actually working. Oh, that's what I'm looking. Okay, yeah. So it looks a little bit more like the example. Oh, I know what else I need. I should probably wrap this in a list. Yes. And then I guess the sortable item should technically be a list item. Instead of just a div. There's probably going to be some CSS work I need to do here in a second. Of course, the background selector is a component because it does a lot of internal state and its own little things. I don't need that for now. So here I'm going to do the handle add, and one of the things that we need here, I brought that in, right? I've got set custom background, yeah. Just kind of shifting around some of the responsibilities here, and My editing is kind of all over the place as I do it. Yeah, so what I want to do here is say, I'm going to add one. I'm just going to say it's theme custom backgrounds linked. I forget how I use this action right now. Yeah, okay, so it just creates a new one. Set custom background. That's going to be the index. I guess I'll just set defaults for these for now. I'm just kind of adding an empty item at the end of the list. And I guess if I have an add button, I should have a remove button too, but I think I already have that. Yeah, each of the individual items should have a remove button. Oh hey, Axel F. Someone in my YouTube comments had actually requested this, so I'm going to keep this around. I kind of have no idea right now how close I am to working code, so I should probably like run this soon and see what I've broken. Give each of these an item. I'll give them an index. Yada yada. Mainly what I'm kind of being non-verbal about right now is just kind of trying to think through the refactoring I have to do here, because the problem up till now is the individual selectors are too smart and they have too many responsibilities, and I'm trying to yank those responsibilities out so that each individual selector only deals with its immediate data. So rather than it getting a list of all backgrounds, it should now just get a single item. Okay. That looks a little more sensible. And now instead of looking up its own, it's just going to look up... It's just going to destructure the stuff from the item I pass in. Okay. And I don't need this anymore, because this doesn't even... This component doesn't show up unless it represents an existing background item. So I'm just kind of trying to make this a little dumber. I can't remember if I have a... Oh, I do have a clear background item. Okay. Yeah, so one thing that this thing is still maybe a little too smart about, it knows what its own index is in the list, so it can send a message, so it can dispatch an action to delete itself. I may end up simplifying this further and making the component not have to know that. Makes for simpler components if they're not so entangled in data that comes from like a context above it. Let's run the site build. I'm sure I've broken something. But maybe not. It seems promising so far. So far, so good. So let's see what I actually did to it. It should start initially, I guess, with nothing there. Nope, I broke more than I thought. Syntax error. Syntax error do we have? Oh, that should not be that. That should not be a curly brace. That should be... Where did I put that? Yeah, this should be parens. Parentheses, not curly braces. Man, I probably need some more coffee today. I'm just not using my words very well. Comma expected. Why did you expect a comma there? Oh, I see. Actually, I left out a parenthesis here. So many parents. Maybe I'll look out. And I'll actually get a page loading this time. Of course it helps to look at the linting errors first, I guess. Doesn't use its own index. Let's go on down here and done 58. Okay, that's... Ah, I see. Yeah, I'm kind of stumbling into this. Yeah, there we go. Linting errors are useful sometimes. Missing key prop, okay. Just kind of cleaning up my doodles. What else am I missing? Missing semicolon. Cool. Well, at least it validates. See if it actually loads. No. Crud. But now it's loading. But I think there is an error. No? Okay. What happens when I add a background image? Cool. But it did actually add. Oh. Undefined index. Okay. I see what's going on. Still needs to know its index because it's doing a set custom background. But still needs to know that. But it doesn't need this. It's no longer getting the full list of backgrounds. So I'm still kind of cleaning up. This is where some tests would help, which I don't have. So these are just a few bits here that change the alignment and the actual background image for the item managed by this component. And since they don't have access to the full set of backgrounds anymore, they just have to work from the item that they're given. If I refactor it further, I can probably pass it some like curried functions or something, so it doesn't even have to know the index. I can just call a function built especially for it. But let's see if I fix the immediate error. Like, I'm just kind of refactoring how I set this up, because initially I had 3 hard-coded editors here, and now I'm turning it into like a more dynamic list. Which will help, because then when we actually get into the drag and drop, we're dragging and dropping a list and not a hard-coded thing. Clear custom background is not a function. Why is that? Oh, because I'm not passing. Okay. That's another thing that gets tricky, is I am trying to break this thing down a bit. I'm not passing everything to it. Let's pass a few more things. I'm also going back and forth on syntax, my preferred syntax for components, because you can assign attributes to components just like HTML attributes, or you can do a thing like this, where you define a hash. That gives you some other conveniences, like I can do that. So I just have a named variable that I pass in, so that I don't have to do like clear custom background equal clear custom background. And same thing up here. This is getting a little verbose. This feels a little drier to me. I don't have to repeat words. You know what else this is missing? There are some other things I have to thread through here. I'm giving it an item, but it's also going to expect... Yeah, there's a few other things it's expecting that I just kind of like pass through. You know, I'm going to be lazy. Here, watch this. So rather than call all these things out, rather than identify each of these things individually, I'm just going to be lazy and just pass my props through. It obscures things, like it doesn't actually list out what I'm passing, but it makes some things easier. Yeah, so then I can do this. So I've kind of got I'm just sharing the custom, or I'm sharing a common set of props all the way from the parent component of this module. And I'm just going to thread them through the whole way, which is a little messy because I don't identify what all is in props, but it makes it a lot easier when I add a new prop. It just makes it all the way down to the leaf node components. And then I don't have to remember to add them all the time. Okay, so moving along, that then means all the way down at the leaf of this thing, the custom background selector gets everything it expects to get. I do believe. This never gets used. This never gets used. That never gets used. Yeah, okay, let's go. Oh, linting error. Missing key prop for which? That's right there. Okay, well, to make you happy. I guess occasionally, or always, it wants to see that as an attribute and not as a spread prop like that. Man, I just feel brain dead today. I'm sure I am not being entertaining at all. But maybe I'll actually get some work done. Probably should have made 2 espressos. And it's loading so far without an error, so that's cool. See if I can set a background image. So far, so good, but nothing's happening. I broke it. Okay, let's back up and look at the code and see what I did. I'm trying to get from my hard-coded selectors to a more flexible list. And I'm just kind of stumbling through all the assumptions. For better or worse. Actually, you know what else could help? I use my Redux debugging. I could see what it's trying to pass in as, what it's trying to dispatch as actions to the data store in the back. So it loads up, it's got a thingy, got a background image, I pick a background image and the event fires. So what is the issue? What's the payload of that? It's got a URL. It's a really long URL because it's an encoded image, which is probably a mistake to have tried looking at. I think it's missing an index, so maybe it's just not getting... Yeah, it's missing index. Okay. So this is what I need. But why is it missing index? Because index is right there. Try this, just for the heck of it. I want to see what I'm passing in there. My linter can shut up for this line. I think I'm gonna shuffle through my favorites. Wow, that is a terrible song. Here we go. Looks like it built. Let's get a reload happening. And then I clear the console. So what happens when we pick a background image? Index is undefined. That doesn't make me happy. Why is index undefined? So down here I give it the background list. Background list should have an index from the map. Should be passed in. It should have an index as a prop. What am I getting at? What do I have as props? There goes the build. There comes the reload. I did hook up hot module replacement, so that should be telling me some things. Okay, so my props at the time this is called. See, these are all the things coming up from the parent. It's a lot of stuff. It doesn't need all this stuff. But there's no index. Why is there no index? It should have been passed. Let's go see. It is. I am trying to pass it an index here. Maybe index is undefined there. Well, let's see. Let's do some more messy sleuthing. Oops. I want to capitalize that. Yeah, I'm confused because I'm... why is the index undefined then? So I have a higher order component here. Could it be that it's not passing in index? It's bizarre if it's not. I'll drop back to the undecorated component. Now that's weird. The higher order component is snipping out one of my props. Excuse me. Well, that's annoying. Is that what's really happening? So I'm wrapping my list item here in a higher order component that's supposed to enable sorting. And it looks like the higher order component is kind of intercepting one of my props. Yeah, wonder why that is. There's probably a good reason for it. Well then, let me try something else. This is going to be kind of annoying, but it's a thing that I wanted to do earlier. So this component doesn't necessarily need to know the index of its item. The only reason it needs to know that index is so it can call things like clear custom background with that index, or call move with that index, or call set custom background. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this component dumber. It's going to know, it's going to get its item. Then I'm going to pass it some specially prepared functions that embed the knowledge of the index. And I know what it wants. It's going to want set custom background. Oops, that's incorrect. It's going to want... What is going on here? stop that. It's going to want set custom background. It's going to want to be able to move custom background, and these are all just wrappers for Redux action dispatching. No, oh, I know what I'm doing. I keep accidentally grabbing the system clipboard instead of my yank buffer. Move custom background and clear custom background. Cool. Damn it, I did it again. There we go, okay. So these are the bare dispatchers. What I'm gonna do is say, you want a clear custom background? Cool. What you're going to do is clear that index. So the selector component doesn't need to know what its index is. It's going to get a specially modified wrapper function with knowledge of the index already built in. This is a little wasteful, I guess, but whatever. I think they call this currying. It's where you can take a function and kind of partially apply it. New index, old index. And this is a little annoying because I'm going to construct these every time I render, but I don't know, that's probably okay. Okay, so now none of these individual background selectors need to know the index. So I can just say clear that custom background, because that's a function that already has knowledge embedded of what the index is. And this one, I don't need to pass an old index in, I can just pass index. I don't need to do this, I'm going to just stop doing this bounds checking here for now. Who else needs index? You need index, but you know what I'm going to do? Let's do this. More knowledge that doesn't need to be embedded. This is getting messy. I'm probably going to regret this entire approach. But I think I'm on the right track. This is getting ugly. Yeah, okay. It simplifies things, also makes them kind of ugly, I guess. Okay. And I may end up deleting a bunch of this code anyways. But who still needs to know index? You think you need to know index, but you don't, because custom background is now wrapped. You don't need to know index. Okay, neither do you. Okay, I think we might have that sorted. Really like this song, but it really needs an ending. So I save my file. What did I break? I broke a bunch of things. Why? Oh, because I need some commas here. Okay, let's do that. Actually, you know what I should do? Let me dry this real quick. Nobody uses handle move. Yeah. So let's get rid of handle move. I'm just going to give this a number for math. Make this simpler. We don't need these two functions. So, again, reducing some intelligence in the child component. It doesn't need to know its current index, and it's only going to need to say which direction to move this current background. And the index is embedded in the curried functions. I think this is going to be alright. This may be a terrible idea. Couple linting areas, doesn't like a trailing space there. Missing key prop on 158. Yeah, we don't need these paragraphs anymore. There we go. Let's try that. Is lint happier? Lint is happier. I gotta build. The add button works. Did I actually fix things? Seems like I might have fixed things. Cool. Okay. So it looks like I unbroke things that I broke. So now I can further tweak things to work as a sortable list. Are they draggable right now? Well, dragging just broke everything, didn't it? Yikes. Okay, well, forging ahead. Of course, I'm not doing anything with the drag and drop event right now. I see. So the higher order component wants the index, but it's just stealing it from my underlying thing. Okay, well, never mind. So yeah, at some point I think I will end up deleting this move custom background prop because the higher order component is going to take care of reordering itself. Now, one of the things I don't know how does it animate the dragging? So I figured it would have done that for itself. Yeah, I've probably got some more work to do. Well, I definitely have some more work to do here. So one of the things I'm kind of ignoring here, I don't have a handler for moving. Now what does that get? That gets new index, old index. And we can do onsort end. And I'm wondering what else this higher order component needs. Does it need actual items? Huh. Doesn't seem like it. Well, let's see what happens with this. I just want to see what it does. And this is our list. Already heard this. I'm gonna skip past this one. Oh, I broke things again. Okay. Oh, I know why I did. That handle move, it's this handle move. Might have helped if I came into this with more of a plan. But some days it helps, I guess, to just kind of fall down through the tree and hit your head on all the branches. That's a terrible analogy. Okay. I drag you, I drop you. Ah, okay. Didn't actually do anything. Because I'm not actually changing the backing store. But that's okay. Because that's what I'm going to do next. And I don't have... It's not showing me what I'm dragging, which is kind of annoying. So I got to figure out, how does that work? And I can get rid of that console log. I don't need that in there anymore. Okay. But what I can do... I don't need... Yeah, okay. It's nice that my variables or my parameters are already named. New index and old index. So it might be this simple to actually wire up the drag and drop. What was that error? No console. You know, buzz off. That'll work. Okay. Did it work? Looks like it did work, so dragging and dropping is working. Except I just broke, my machine was too slow just now. Okay, so dragging and dropping is working. Very slowly. It's just that... hell, why is it so slow? So there's an issue too where, so the add-on in the background is being pinged occasionally by the website. And if the add-on fails to respond for a few seconds, the website decides that the add-on is uninstalled and it flips states, which we don't want it to do right now. Apparently this move operation is really slow. See, it just lost contact with the add-on and then it came back. That's annoying. I am noticing that since I'm dealing with these images, there are some performance issues, and I need to figure that out next. Actually, I'm going to add that to my to-do. I'm just going to throw that generic to-do in there. Alright, well I'm a lot closer than when I started. Drag and drop is actually working. It's just not visually very good yet. None of this is styled well at all. But it is actually working. It's just invisible while I'm dragging it, apparently. So I guess maybe that's the next thing I look into. Oh, that was very nice. It just lost my theme. Oh, I think I must have accidentally clicked on a theme. Okay, well, let's go back to a thing. Could also be I'm just really dragging down my machine right now. But most of this is still working. Yeah, so the drag and drop works. It's just, oh, you know what it is? I bet I know what it is. Every time I make a change to this theme, it's basically re-uploading the images to the add-on. So every time I change the theme, it's sending a fresh copy of everything up. I wonder if a thing I might do is make reordering more granular. That complicates things in the add-on. Yeah, so every time I reorder the background images, it's using a messaging channel to send all the background images all over again into the browser. And maybe that's our performance issue. And maybe what I should do is find a way to just send a move command to the add-on, because the add-on already has the images. It doesn't need to throw out the images and then put new ones in. Okay, so that could be a thing I look at next. But at least I know I didn't totally break the background images feature. But I do need to figure out why the dragged item has no, it's invisible. Okay, let's do a little cleanup first. So I know now that my higher order component is handling drag and drop. I don't need these buttons anymore. I don't need move up, move down. I don't need the buttons that use it, because I have drag and drop now. And I don't need, okay, I didn't need to pass that anymore. And that'll simplify the UI a little bit. It's still ugly as heck, but if I just remove those buttons, we don't need up and down because we can drag and drop. And the clear button still works, yes. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at the docs again, because I'm missing any... Like now that I'm dragging it, where is it? There's... Oh, I see, it's off to the side. It's this weird ghost thing that's appearing behind everything. Oh, that's not cool. Why is that? Maybe I need to give it a Z index or something. If the docs have anything to say about that. Helper class. Hide sortable ghost. Huh. Well, they've got some demos. Let me see. See, this is what I want. I want to see the thing that I'm dragging. I don't necessarily need a drag handle. Well, maybe I do need a drag handle, but we can get to that. Minimal styles. Why am I missing? What am I missing here? I need to figure out, I guess what I need to see is what is it doing to my item when I pick it up. Maybe I can throw some styles on that. So when I start to drag, I see. So it adds a new list item at the bottom of the list. That does visibility hidden opacity 0 on my original. Oof. You know, I've never actually canceled image upload before for this. Okay. I wish I could freeze it right in the middle of this interaction, because I don't see exactly what it does down here. So I start to drag, adds a list item. Or does it add a list item? Huh. I'm fully confused what's going on with this thing. It's the bottom of the page? Yeah, oh, that's strange. It adds one at the very bottom of the page, right at the end of the... Oh, come on, stop doing that. I'm trying to figure something out here, thanks. Okay, all the way at the bottom of the page. It adds a list item. Ah, okay. And oh, you can bite me, performance issues. It adds a list item all the way at the bottom of the page. And that's where it's got some style transforms to do, positioning, translation. There's no class on there though. So when that ghost comes in, or when that dragged item comes in, it's under all my other layers. Which that's annoying. I'm wondering, what styling can I do to this?
You've been hit by, you've been struck by a smooth...
Been working on this one problem for a while. I end up Maybe doing it for like another 20 minutes or so and wrap up the stream. The main thing is I wanted to get this drag and drop working. And I think I'm almost there. Except for, like, I mean, it's still ugly, but if I can get this one last thing, maybe I'll call drag and drop functional for now. Helper class, maybe that's what I need. Okay. Let's try this. Let's call it drag helper. Oh, what are we assigning here? Okay, I got a couple linters. Some more things I need to clean up. My NFS is slowing down a little, which I wonder why. Okay, so I'm not using move up, move down. I'm not using them at all. Move custom background at 145. Yeah, I'm not using that anymore. It's a little faster. So I've just kind of spent the stream so far doing a bunch of refactoring and to go from 3 hard-coded static controls, static elements, into a dynamic list, and to add this higher order component that can do drag and drop for me. And I made these background selectors a little dumber so that they don't have to keep track of their own position within the list, because now the higher order component takes care of that. Well, let's see what happens when I drag now. My code totally broken. Let's reload to be sure.
Wasn't outsmarting Ma. She was quick. She could tell if there was salt missing from a pretzel. So the next morning at breakfast, she would just stare at me, right into my eyeballs, pupil to pupil, never blinking. Her eyes looked like 2 distant attorneys.
And it lost my theme. I don't know why. There are some things that are kind of janky with this right now. A lot of it is performance issues. So that's going to be my next thing, I think. Add another one. Okay. Let's say we want that to go right top. So when I drag this, there it goes. Okay, cool. So that one option added, you can barely see it because it's under my to-do, but there's a list item called drag helper at the bottom there. And so here's the thing I'm going to try doing. Let's edit our CSS for this component. I'm going to say drag helper. Let's give you a... Spell that correctly. Let's give you a z-index. Let's give you a real big z-index. How about that? And if this works, I think I might actually be able to say that first to-do is done. The second one is going to get more complicated, so I may defer it for my next stream. Because part of what this needs to involve is I need to... So I've been keeping things simple so far. There's really only one big message that goes between the website and the add-on, and that message is set theme. And when I say set theme, it takes whatever the state of the theme is currently on the website and just shoves the whole thing up to the browser through a messaging channel. Now, that isn't very expensive when the theme just includes colors. But now that I'm actually embedding full images, that message gets a lot bigger. And so maybe I need to rework the messaging so that I just send move commands, so the add-on in the browser can move the images around rather than receiving an entire overwrite of the whole theme, including complete new uploads of images it already has. But first, let's see if I fixed my drag and drop issue. I didn't. Why? You see it's behind everything. Now why is that? Yeah, see, this is where the performance issue is coming in, is it takes so long to take care of that new theme upload. It's occasionally causing the add-on to go unresponsive, and then the site shifts into a state where it thinks the add-on is gone. But then it immediately gets a response from the add-on and switches back. Okay. But I figured that would work, though. Look at my style editor real quick. Wondering, because I threw that in there. I threw drag handle or drag helper in here, didn't I? This is also rough to look at because this is all processed through this is all pre-compiled CSS, so it's hard to find what I'm looking for. But I swear I added... Is there a search function in here? Fine, there you go. Let's try this. Drag helper. Okay. I added it. You know what I don't have? I don't think I have hot reloading CSS. Let's try this. Are you in there now? You are still loading CSS. Am I not? Oh, you know what would help? What would really help is if I imported that CSS as a dependency. And then it might be included in my Webpack build. At least I think that's the syntax, right? I do it elsewhere. Yeah, that's the syntax. Okay, so maybe this time, if I remember to include it in the build, it'll include it in the build. Hey, what do you know? I include it in the build, it shows up in the build. Okay. Okay. So, all I'm trying to do here, to kind of cap off this to-do, I got drag and drop working. It's very clunky. It doesn't perform very well. But I think I know why. Not to mention the fact that this machine is kind of a dog. But I can add these custom backgrounds to the theme. I can tile them. I should find better background. I should find better images to play with. And for the thing that I'm really trying to get working today, I can drag. Oh, hey, look at that. Okay, cool. So now you can actually see what I'm dragging. And it should resort it. It should reorder the images. Except it gets really dragged down. Okay. So I think that counts as completing my first to-do. It looks terrible, it performs terribly, but it works. And you can see that the reordering is important because then I can, there it goes again. And I just lost my theme because I accidentally clicked on a thing. Okay, but for now, I think I'm gonna wrap this up in a commit and call it working before moving on to the next to-do. So what all did I do in here? I also hate packets lock JSON for trying to do diffs to see what the heck I just did. Alright, so I added a new higher order component, React Sortable Hock. Comes with an element and a sortable container. I refactored a bunch. Added my style sheet to the build, of course. The big refactoring, one of the big refactors is that my custom background selector component no longer needs to know what its own index is, doesn't need to know about any other sibling custom backgrounds, doesn't do its own move up or move down anymore, because at the beginning of today, each of these selectors had their own up-down buttons. Now the high order component takes care of that. They don't have to look up their own background anymore. I just pass that directly in. Blah, blah, blah. I yanked out a bunch of stuff. Oh yeah, this is just an indentation change. I also did a little bit of juggling. Since these components don't need to know, and don't need to know their own index anymore, they get passed in ready-made, pre-curried functions that have the index information baked in. So this component doesn't need to know its index to tell clear custom background to clear that background. It just needs to call that function that it was given directly. And further down in the diff, see where those functions get created. Same thing goes for setting information for the custom background. Doesn't need to know its index anymore. It just needs to know for the custom background, I'm managing here are new properties. And so there could be 3, there could be 10, there could be 2 of these, and all of them get their own copy of set custom background with index information baked in. So that's the main change here. And then here is where I use the higher order component for sorting individual elements. And here is where I make those ready-bake functions with index information baked in. So I've got a list that's using the sortable container higher order component. And between these two is how the drag and drop is managed. And down here, I create these wrapper functions around the Redux dispatch functions. And they come with, they're basically closures that come with index from this list. And then they pass in the rest of the arguments that come in. So that can be a little expensive in that every time this component gets rendered, it's going to generate new functions for every item. But let's just call that okay for now. And then we come down to the parent of everything. This is the main theme custom background picker component. It lists all the backgrounds. It's got a couple things here to handle when adding a new background and when to handle the event that comes back from the sortable component. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm going to get rid of this console log before I commit. But it basically just translates these things into Redux action dispatches. And what else did we do? We added a little style. Yeah, okay. So where is this console log message? Console log message. We don't need that there. I'm going to review it one more time, my changes so far today, and see if there's anything else I can clean up before I commit. So yeah, here's the other thing is before I had 3 hard-coded selectors, so I didn't have a dynamic list. I just had 3 hard-coded components, and I've changed that to a dynamic list. And in doing so, this component gets dumber. This component no longer needs to know its index. This component no longer needs access to every prop handed to the parent. This component only needs to know what is its current item that it's managing, and it can be passed 2 functions. One, it can use to delete the item it's managing, and the other is to submit changes to that item. But it doesn't need to know which item that is, and it doesn't need to know anything about its surrounding items. This is just an indentation change again. Yeah, so like here, it used to have to know its index, so it could tell Redux which background to clear. Now it doesn't need to know that. It's just given a ready-made function that already knows the index. And that's handled at a higher level than this component. Since now we're doing drag and drop with a higher order component, it no longer needs to move itself. So this code is just gone. Similar thing here. That custom background. These 3 handlers are for editing different properties of a custom background. They don't need to know index anymore. And then the follow-up on all that, the index is baked in here. So, clear custom background, set custom background are action dispatchers from Redux, and the parent to that component does some function currying, where it gives it special-made versions of those functions with the index already rolled in this loop. And then, so yeah, bit of refactoring there. I had to add this class in CSS to make sure that when I'm dragging an item, it doesn't end up underneath all my layers because it wasn't visible. And I think I got all the garbage out from debugging. And I think this change is just left over from previous work on Friday, which actually I think I'm gonna take that out for now. It's part of my investigation into why the fonts keep going missing, but I don't think I need to make it part of this commit. One more look through. My third pass. I do this a few times when I kind of wrap up doing a big change. I like to review my own code a few times before I commit it. I've stung myself a few times by leaving stupid log messages in. But I think it looks okay. And I'm going to say this is also an ongoing bit of work. So all my commit messages are kind of ugly. At some point I'm going to squash all this together into one big pull request. And I've done a lot of back and forth in here while I've been iterating on it. So it's good to clean everything up, get rid of all the stuff that I tried and then threw out. Don't really want those showing up in project history. So at some point I'm going to do one, when I feel like this is closer to being a full feature, I'm going to comb through these commits and do a little bit of editing before I submit. So we're just going to, and also I like to use this little keyword progress to remind myself which are the in progress incremental commits. Oops, it helps if I give it a command. So where are we at now? I'm coming up on a couple minutes before 5 o'clock here. I think I may wrap up the stream. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get myself to commit to 2 hours starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That might be too ambitious, but I'm going to keep trying it. So I think this might be a good... I think this is a good point to break off. I'm going to actually, before I leave, I committed my changes. Let me get this work off my machine. There it goes, it's in the cloud now. If my machine burns, it's no longer here. If you feel like following along with what I'm working on, this project is Firefox Color. My fork of it is over here at LM Orchard Firefox Color. The branch I've been working on. What branch is it? I think it's 308. Yeah, 308 Image Picker. It's been since about the beginning of the month I've been working on this feature off and on. Been streaming it for probably about 3 weeks now. But if you want to follow along, come on and look at my work in GitHub. Comments are welcome. Tell me what I'm screwing up. And hopefully by the end of this, I'll take a lot of the messy stuff I've done, wrap it up into something that looks clean before I do a pull request. I think when I come back on Wednesday, I'm going to try to address these performance issues. Because I think we're in pretty good shape functionality-wise. User experience-wise, it's a mess, but I've got another teammate who's actually working on making this thing actually look usable. Well, look and be usable. I am not an interaction designer. But my main goal right now is just to get the underpinnings working so that then we can take their work and integrate it. But I think all the basics are here now. You can select background images, you can control their positioning and tiling. And now, as of today, you can drag and drop to reorder them. And the performance is really terrible, but you can see it's functional. And with that summing up, I think I'm gonna call it a day. Thanks everybody who came along to watch me today. Hopefully I'll see you again on Wednesday. Till then, cheers.